Home is as Matt said, a connected device company based here in New York. We're really focusing on enhancing what we call the core functions of the home. Areas of the home that keep it running, that are often found in dark, dingy places, and that really matter to the homeowner. So plumbing, electrical, HVAC systems, things that really matter. And although we're currently developing multiple products in our pipeline, we're probably best known for our first product, the Smart Vent. It's a wired smart meter. Comfort of the home, but it improves the overall efficiency of the existing system. You can see a few details of the product up there. Battery powered plate. One thing that's bolded up there is product delivery in October of 2015. So now, and that has been underway. We've been fulfilling pre-order customers over the past few weeks, as well as bringing product to our retail rollout partner as well, which we'll get into here in a little bit. So one of the things that I really love about these hardwired events are that Matt and the team get people to come up here and talk about something kind of very specific, something that, not giving the 15-minute oration of here's what Keen Home is and trying to explain everything. So when I was trying to think about a few of those kind of succinct things that are kind of unique to what Keen Home has done over the past, there were a few that kind of came to mind. And one of them was, we have a kind of a very unique genesis story. So it was a couple of guys had an idea how to solve a problem. We accidentally submitted a proposal to TechCrunch Disrupt Startup Battlefield, got accepted, had about 5 weeks to develop the first prototype, pitch it on stage. Very similar to these guys here. But actually, this is Naeem, my co-founder, and I at Disrupt NY 2013. We had 5 weeks to put it all together. It's a very interesting story, but probably one more suited for drinks later tonight. So we won't talk about that. I also think we have a really compelling story when it comes to product design and prototyping, trying to identify product market fit. But there have been plenty of startups who have kind of told that story before, and so I think maybe for a later time, or one of my other co-founders who could do a better job there. The next one that I thought would be great to talk about would be selecting your manufacturing partner. I actually think this is probably the most important decision that a Atoms-based startup is going to make. They're the ones who are going to be able to deliver on time, on budget, help you iterate on the product, and really allow you to bring the value and the vision you see to your customers. Now, thankfully, we've got people like Scott Miller at Dragon who have talked here, and the folks over at Bolt, so there have been some resources who have talked about that, and the guy you want to have up here talking about that is our CTO, Nathan, who's on a cruise tonight, taking a vacation for the first time in 5 years, so we're not going to talk about that either tonight. So the other thing that comes to mind is I think we've done a really great job of generating demand for the product before it's been out there in the wild. And we haven't used crowdfunding to do that. So we have a great retail rollout partner in Lowe's, and then we were also, my co-founder and I, on Shark Tank a few months ago. So that obviously was a unique way to drum up some interest and awareness around the product. And so that's what I was thinking would be. A deal. We got a deal. We're shaking hands. It's official.
All right.
And then the last 6 or 8 weeks happened. I mentioned we're currently delivering product right now. And although we all kind of thought, great, the product's been built, we've got partners, we've got distribution, everything's ready to go. I don't know, the last 8 weeks have probably been as rough as the 6 months prior to that in trying to get the product in the end consumer's hands. And so that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight, is kind of getting to the finish line, getting that last yard, getting from 99% delivered to all the way in the customer's hands. And it all, what I want to set the scene a little bit. So this is, the product spec is finalized, you're happy with it, tooling is done, so you can kind of see we've got some photos of our first product and where it's at. Manufacturing is ready to go, you're happy with the QA and testing, so this is we're ready to start making thousands and thousands of these units. And so here's a brand new happy Smart Vent ready for a customer, and I thought, great, we've got it. They're going to put it in some cardboard boxes overseas, ship it to our distributor, and then it gets to the end customer via Amazon or via you, a Lowe's customer. Great. Well, it's not quite that simple, unfortunately. So we were starting to design how we were going to get these over here, and Lowe's kind of stepped in and said, well, we can't ship a final retail packaging to our stores, so you have to put it in a break pack or an inner pack, so kind of called the same things. So we'll just put 2 of these in a small cardboard box. We'll say there's 2 of them in there, give you an item number. Great, all right, that's simple enough. We can do that. And then they said, well, so that's the break pack, and then we'll put 3 of those in what is called a master carton. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that before. Okay, that's simple enough. You kind of want similar look and feel, just kind of a product description. They said, it's a little more involved than that, and this is what they sent us. This is what they want on every single master carton for all the different SKUs that we're building. I can honestly say I still don't know what a few of the things up there on that schematic mean, but we've done it, we're good to go, our master cartons are ready for prime time. And then obviously you throw it on some pallets and they go on containers, they go via air freight, and they get to the States to our distributor. Well, there's one more wrinkle to all of that, and it comes down to something that's very fascinating. Labeling and barcodes. I'm going to breeze through this, but it's actually very interesting. So everybody's familiar with a UPC. You know, it's on the bottom right-hand corner of everything you buy. It allows the checkout to know it's this product at this price. Great. So we've got one of those in our box. I mentioned we have a removable faceplate. So our engineering team wanted to make sure that we could track what faceplate went with which vent. So we actually have these little labels on the underside of each faceplate. All right, that's not too crazy. And then we have a serial number that's placed on every vent as well, so we know exactly what vent, when it was made, what line it was on, who made it. That's all very, that's great. Those are great standing operating procedures to have when you're building any type of product at a mass scale. And so then, as long as the product's good, it passed its QA test. 3 more identical labels print. One goes in the back of the box. And then one goes on a label for that break pack that I was talking about, along with the other one. All right, that makes sense. So when you don't have to open the box to see what's in it. But then Lowe's said, well, we actually need a different label on the box so we know how many units are in there. There's 2 units in there. I said, yeah, but our scanners won't know that. So you have to use this thing called an I-205 label. All right, fine. So here's a picture of one of our inner packs. You can see, look at all. It's fascinating. So then, rinse, repeat for the master carton. All 6 units on there. You need an I-205 for that, so when they scan it, they know there's 6 items in there. Great. Then they put it on a pallet. We have to have a separate label for the pallet. I don't know how many labels that was, but that's what we need to get 1 unit into a customer's hands. It's pretty crazy. But now we've got to start shipping the product. And most products are shipped via sea, via a container. Some of them go by air. It just kind of depends on timing, cost, size of your product, all those sorts of things. And so this is one of those areas where the more I learned, the more I realized I was never going to understand everything that went into it. There's a lot of paperwork. So you have to book the transit from the factory to Hong Kong. Well, we're making our product in Shenzhen to Hong Kong. This is a customs form from Homeland Security so that they know everything is on the up and up when it gets here. Then stuff has to get from LA to you get it. There's paperwork. And so that last one was, we couldn't even get in English. It was, so you need a partner. There's guys like FedEx, DHL, they're very expensive, but they are very thorough. There's actually a group, a startup that's raised a good amount of funding out there called Flexport. They're actually really smart guys trying to disrupt this industry. It's just kind of reminds me of almost the laundromat industry. There's just an infinite number of players in it and nobody has any scale. These guys are trying to change that through technology and giving you a lot of visibility into what's going on. We actually went with option 3, which was have a CTO whose childhood best friend's parents owned a freight forwarding company. So we got lucky there. They just kind of held our hand through it for this first time. And we were, like I said, we were very lucky. If you have a Nathan Mariash on your team, I suggest you do the same. So now the product is at our warehouse. This is fairly standard stuff. You want a warehouse that, we brought 4 containers worth of product over the course of 2 weeks to our warehouse. So that's a pretty big influx. You need to make sure they can handle it, temperature controlled. That's pretty basic. And then you've got the fulfillment piece of it. So that's both direct fulfillment, an Amazon order, an order through our own website. You've ordered 2 of one size, 4 of another. Great, they're going to pack it up and get it shipped out to you. The other is more of what you can see happening over on the right side here. Much larger orders going to retail distribution centers, and then they will kind of hub and spoke it out to the respective stores. So that kind of gets us to the last really fun part, which is working with the retailer, kind of that initial load-in. So product sitting on a shelf doesn't ensure it's going to sell at all. So there has to be a real commitment to bringing a visibility, awareness, and education to the product. And Lowe's has been really great with that. On the left here is a photo of an end cap we have in a variety of the stores that we're going to be rolled out in. So it's got information all over the place. There's a physical display that shows it working. There's a screen that has a home configurator, so you can kind of input what your home is like, and it'll tell you how many vents you need. As well as here on the left, and let's see if the technology works. They actually made a commercial for us not to have running on that screen to try to catch people's attention and also educate them on the way by. So this was, $40,000, $50,000 of production effort. They flew part of our team down to North Carolina. They hired actors. One of them looks like Brody from Homeland. You're going to see him here in a minute. This is great, and this really shows that they're committed to moving the product as well. So are we going to see Brody? Yeah. So this is what we've been dealing with the past few weeks. These are Lowe's stores all across the country, and that star there is our warehouse in Denver. So typically, Lowe's has 6 major distribution hubs across the country. We'd ship our product, 15, 20, 30 pallets of product to there, and then they would distribute it to the necessary locations as they see fit. Well, that end cap starts on next Monday, November 2nd. And so it got to the point where our product wasn't going to be there in time to get it to the distribution center and then to the stores. So they said, here's what we're going to have to do. We're not going to be able to use the distribution. You're going to have to ship direct to each and every store. So 600 stores, over 900 POs, or 6 POs. Would you rather ship 6 really big shipments or 900 very small ones? Well, we get to go with the 900 very small ones to meet the deadline. So for the past 2 weeks, we've been shipping out hundreds and hundreds of units a day to every single store you see right across the country to make sure that come next Monday, we have product ready to go and show off to everybody, so that next Tuesday, at least mentally for a few hours, I'll be able to check out there. So that's all I had to talk about today. I know if anybody's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but I appreciate you guys' time tonight. Thanks.
So it looks like it was pretty easy altogether, right?
Easy breezy.
Tell us about Shark Tank, because that looked like it was kind of cool. And it's an incredibly competitive process, right? So just what was the experience?
Sure. Yeah, I think we aired in February. I think they said 37,000 applications were submitted for, and they roughly tape maybe 140 actual pitches for the whole season. So, yeah, very, very selective. I think they look for products and founders who can get up there and kind of, it is television first and foremost. So they want something that they think will resonate with that particular audience. As far as just the 20 seconds on how we kind of got selected, we were actually featured in Inc. magazine had a feature on us. One of the executive producers of the show happened to read it and reached out to us directly, encouraged us to apply, and I think that was obviously it helped us a lot to getting to the point where we were being reviewed by the appropriate people and got to go into the show.
And did that truly move the needle in terms of pre-sales? Because we had an earlier presenter here a few months ago that essentially said that he would sort of save the company. They had problems raising money, and they got such a boost from Shark Tank.
Yeah, it certainly didn't save our company, but it was a huge boost. I think our base, we 10x'd our baseline for website hits, and that was consistent it wasn't like a spike and then it dropped back down. It was just for months we were getting thousands of website hits a day. We certainly did a ton of pre-orders. We actually opened up pre-orders the night of the show. We wish that the show would have aired a little later to close the gap between show airing and delivery. We were asking people in February to give us $350 for a system of 4 or 5 vents. and many of them did. But knowing that the delivery would be, late summer, early fall. So if you can say that window is only 60 days, you probably convert 2 or 3 times as many potential customers. But ultimately, the exposure has been, has been great.
Did not align their airing schedule on your needs.
We it was unacceptable as far as we were concerned.
How much money were you saving by manufacturing in China?
That's a great question. I think really what it comes down to is for us, the expertise is in China. So, we could try to manufacture it here, and it would have cost us a lot more. But ultimately, whether it's the tooling components of the electronics manufacturing, that expertise and that skill set and that volume of workforce is only available over there. So it's making, at our volumes, when we were, we manufactured 30,000 units for our first run. 15,000 are gone now, both whether through pre-orders or through Lowe's initial load-in. So to be able to, when you're talking that sort of volume, there's no other kind of alternative. So that's really the grander question that should be asked there. Yeah.
How did you finance your business?
I'm sorry?
How did you finance the business?
How did we finance the business? For the first, 8 to 10 months, the founders funded it ourselves to get to the point where we were through the prototyping stage. We got into Techstars accelerator, so that gave us a little bit of capital, and then once we left that, we were able to raise a seed round to finance it. Mm-hmm.
So how did you come up with this particular idea? Were you focused on heat ventilation, or were you looking at a broader sort of problem of trying to solve or hack your way through?
Yeah, the initial idea for the product was me trying to solve a problem in my own bedroom. One vent blowing air on me, I wanted to be able to control it with my phone. But that's not a company, right? That's not even really a product. At the end of the day, it was understanding, all right, what's the greater picture there? Is there an opportunity in single-family homes where there's, you don't need your dining room and your bedroom the same temperature when you're sleeping at night? I have been an early adopter of Nest. I got the version 1 right when it came out. It's one point of control, one point of measurement in the home. It still can't do the refined kind of heating and cooling that it would like to do, and we're a Works with Nest partner once we roll out the product, so we'll be able to add that functionality.
You also crowdfunded an early prototype, I thought, at Indiegogo.
We did.
Can you give us a kind of a timeline that brings you? You did a lot of stuff in the last couple of years. You did the crowdfunding, you did the Shark Tank, you did the accelerator, and how'd you do it all?
Yeah, I think so. At the time, so when the start of Battlefield happened the same week that Naeem and I we started the company while we were doing our MBAs at NYU, and so they have a kind of a great startup competition every year, and we were in the finals of that. We did TechCrunch, we did Startup Battlefield the same week. So I was an investment banker at the time, and Naeem had been recruited for a full-time position as a banker, and so we were looking for that sign to say, all right, let's not do that anymore. Let's focus on this. And those two things, along with, we did run a small Indiegogo campaign when it was just the two of us. We didn't even have a technical co-founder at the time. If you go back and look at the page, it doesn't even look like the same company. But what it did do was show, at least convince us that, all right, this is worth pursuing full-time.
Right, your slide earlier, you interface with Nest.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a formal relationship, or is it informal? Let's talk this
It's a formal relationship. Nest has, there's kind of two ways that products, when they say work with Nest, there's two ways they can go about that. They have an open API that if you have a product that you want to kind of call to and have it work with, that's fine. But then they have what they call the Works with Nest program, right? It's about 30, right now it's 30 to 35 different curated companies. They have LifeX, they've got August, there's Chamberlain, there's Whirlpool, Mercedes-Benz. So what Nest is doing is they know they can't build every single product for the smart home. Right, so they'll build what they build, they'll be the brain, and then they'll find best-in-class partners to fill out the portfolio. So we will be the venting partner for Nest, and one of the things I think is really important to note is that it's great to have your light bulb connected to your thermostat, I guess, right? And I understand when when your fire alarm goes off, it blinks red. There's probably something important to be had there. When it comes to real use cases, right? Thermostats and air vents, that's something that really makes sense and works together, and it makes both products better. Nest realizes that, where they've been working very closely with us for almost a year now on making sure that the integration that we've got, not only we roll out, but the vision we have for it 6, 8, 10 months down the road is executed.
One last question. Could you talk about distribution a little bit? So, for instance, I know in home, like, the vast majority of thermostats are still contracted. So it's a sexy channel in retail, but as you must experience, more than you headaches.
Mm-hmm.
And then the margins are controlled. Right? Are you selling this in those around $100?
The retail price point's $85 for this. We have two major sizes, so $85 to $90 per vent.
And so on the initial low order, you said it's like, you know, average $25 a unit. So obviously there's big discounts when you talk about the decision merge to go through this channel.
Yeah, I think so. There are about 100 million homes in the U.S. right now with central heating and cooling systems. About 450,000 new builds every year have the same type of technology. So that kind of quickly showed us that trying to go after purely new builds doesn't make a lot of sense. You'd have, even if you got 100% traction, it'd be a real headache. So then we're going to be selling directly to consumers. So obviously we sell through our own website. We think Amazon's a great channel. We're going to be rolling out partnerships with groups like Build.com. Best Buy's on the horizon. But Lowe's has been a really great partner, right? This was almost 14 months ago. They gave us a commitment for 35,000 units, right? If you saw the prototypes that we walked into that meeting with, it doesn't even make any sense, right? But I think what they really appreciated was our vision for the home and how we weren't going to try to do everything with this product. This is a smart air vent, right? We can do a lot. We're in a really unique place in the home. We can do things around air quality measurement, obviously understanding the impact of not changing your filter on systems. There's some unique things we can do, but it's an air vent at the end of the day. So we're not trying to do too much with this product, and that resonated with the way they're building their smart home section. So they kind of helped us out along the way. You can see, I mean, the dollar value of having those end caps in those hundreds and hundreds of stores, I don't even know what it is. I'm sure it's over $100,000. We're in a circular this weekend. They obviously made this video for us. So it's not, if you look just at the numbers, yes, it's tougher to make the margin, at a Lowe's. But honestly, from our perspective and for most hardware startups, it's not about how much money you're making, it's about how many units you're selling. And so exposure like that is really the thing that's what resonated with us.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much.
You bet. Thanks, man.